In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing Season 9, American Horror Story, 1984. Now, Season 9 of American Horror Story 1984 premiered September 18th, 2019, and concluded on November 13th, 2019. It is the shortest season in the American Horror Story series, with only 9 episodes. And it's heavily based on the horror slasher movies from Friday the 13th, Halloween, Freddy Krueger, you name it, they put it in this. Even Sleepaway Camp and all the horror camp movies from the 1980s, they did that. Now, you might notice in this season, it is the first season not to feature Evan Peters or Sarah Paulson. So, hey, this season was interesting because I do want to say, and I want to get this out of the way, this is my favorite season of American Horror Story. Season 1 was my favorite for a while, and all of a sudden Coven took over. But now it took a while for me to enjoy a really good season that I sat there and was entertained throughout the entire season, and Season 9, 1984, just did that. Now, it's set in 1984, and it tells the story of Brooke Thompson, played by Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts is stellar in this season. She's front and center, and basically she applies to a newly reopened summer camp where it's called Camp Redwood. And she wants to work there because, she wants to get away from being attacked by the serial killer Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, once again, his character makes another appearance in American Horror Story. The last time his character made an appearance in American Horror Story was American Horror Story Hotel. Now, Brooke travels to the camp with other people that she met at an aerobics class, and from then on they meet Margaret Booth, who is a camp counselor there, but survived an attack by one of the big killers that was there. Now, the interesting thing about this is that they named the serial killer Mr. Jingles because he has keys that jingle when he's coming to you or walks towards you or wants to kill you. I loved this season for the horror aspect of it. It had that 80s feel to it, even though it was, current 80s look and feel to it, but it had that 1980s feel to it. The intro music for this season was really, really good. They got everything down perfectly, got everything down right, and it just worked. And each character has their own backstory to things and how it works. But the thing is that there's more to it. We go to the history of how everything happened and how everything should be up until today. We find out the true nature of what this Margaret Booth is about and who actually the villain is and what Mr. Jingles went through this whole time trying to understand himself. And John Carroll Lynch, who played Twisty the Clown in Freak Show Season 4 of American Horror Story, does play Mr. Jingles in this season. But he has a backstory. Like I said, all these characters have a backstory. The setting is great. The camp setting is great. It goes back to that, scariness of, whoa, what's happening? What's going on? Each episode ends on a cliffhanger, but then it closes out, and it closes and makes sense of it at the end of the final episode, which is episode 9. I wanted more. I really wanted more from this season. They could have given us 10 episodes, 12 episodes. I would have loved it. You could have dragged this on because it's so good. I mean, the last time American Horror Story was good was Coven. But it takes 6 seasons to go back to being what it is. A campy, fun, horror-based TV show that we all know and love. And Season 9, 1984, did that. I don't know what the idea was, but Ryan Murphy hit it out of the ballpark. This is one of my favorite seasons of American Horror Story. And, hey, I'll say it right now. My top 3 seasons are 1984, Coven, and Murder House. I mean, if you've never seen 1984, you're missing out. You really are. I'm pretty sure there are people who stopped watching after a certain season because it just dragged on for so long. But check out 1984, because if you're a horror slasher fan like I am, you love the Halloween movies, the Friday the 13th movies, the Sleepaway Camp movies, those camp horror movies, A Nightmare on Elm Street. In some way, when you're watching 1984, you see the homage that's paid to these movies, and it's great. Even how certain things are done, how certain killings are done, it's just, it's gruesome, it's in your face, and it's a lot of fun. There is an emotional aspect to this story where we find out the true nature and the history of this entire campground and Camp Redwood, of what actually went on there. I mean, once you die in the camp, you stay in the camp. You can't go out of the camp, because once you do, you don't exist anymore. You're stuck there, you're stuck. So for me, if I go into the camp, I'm a regular human, and I come across one of the characters that died, they kill me, I'm stuck there. That's how it is. But if I don't go in there, I'm fine. There's this whole nature of what they need to do and how it's done, but it works so well. And Leslie Grossman as Margaret Booth is such an annoying bitch that you just hate her in this season. And she plays it really well. It's really, really good. It's fantastic. And the other characters that are in this are really great, but they're different and interesting. Like I said, they all have a backstory, and their backstories are emotional, and they don't know what to do at certain times, but they get through it in a way where you try and realize, oh, at the end, this is what happened. I want to say that since there were 9 episodes of this season actually didn't rush everything together. Because episodes 5 and 6, we all get that reveal or revelation of, wow, this is what the story is. Here's that twist. That didn't happen with this. This series stepped it up episode after episode and concluded in a way where I was very satisfied of how it ended, even though I wanted more episodes. Each actor played a tremendous role in this. The setting was great. It's the 1980s. How can you not love the 1980s? How can you not love horror movies? You put those two things together, you get American Horror Story Season 9, 1984. I'm hoping they go back to the 80s setting somehow, some way, or they go to the 70s or to some other, decade where we can actually appreciate, the time and money it's spent to actually putting a story like this together, because it was really, really fun and really, really good. So for me, American Horror Story 1984 gets 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorite seasons of American Horror Story. I loved it from beginning to end. Nothing was dragged on. It completed an entire season of what we wanted, and we got answers in the end of it, and it's just really, really fun. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about American Horror Story Season 9, 1984. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what did you think of it? And what is your favorite season of American Horror Story? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.